Picture this: the smell of salt in the air, the sound of crashing waves, screams. But not all of them are from the rides, because beneath the lights, beneath the laughter, this place has secrets. Some hidden in its history, some buried in tragedy, and some that people swear never left. Welcome to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, California's oldest seaside amusement park, where the past is still very much alive. This is Death Kiss Traveler. My name is Marissa, your morbidly curious host. And around here, we don't just visit the destinations, we dig into the stories they tried to bury. Accidents, hauntings, the moments that turned places meant for joy into something a little darker. From amusement parks and seaside boardwalks to circuses, fairs, and forgotten attractions. If there's a history with a shadow, I'll find it. Death Kiss Traveler is officially on YouTube, which means the stories you've been listening to, you can now see them too. The photos, the locations, the details that make these places feel a little off. So if you ever want to go deeper into these stories or see the places where everything happened, head over to YouTube, search Death Kiss Traveler, and come join me there. Or follow me on Instagram or TikTok if you're drawn to the strange, the chilling, and the stories hiding just beneath the surface. At Death Kiss Traveler Podcast. Okay, this ride is about to get bumpy. Are you ready? Let's go. Before the roller coasters, before the neon lights, before the screams echoing over the ocean, there was just a stretch of coastline, an idea. At the turn of the 20th century, Santa Cruz wasn't yet the buzzing beach town we know today. It was quieter, slower, a coastal escape, but not yet a destination. And then came something that would change everything. The railroad. When train lines began connecting the Bay Area to Santa Cruz in the late 1800s, it unlocked something powerful: accessibility. Suddenly, people from San Francisco and beyond could leave behind the fog, the factories, and the noise, and arrive at the ocean in just a few hours. And with them, they brought money, curiosity, and a hunger for entertainment. At first, the draw wasn't rides. It was a bathhouse, and we've talked about bathhouses before, but never really in detail. And it's not really a bunch of people bathing together, because that's what I thought. But before the roller coasters, before games, before the boardwalk turned into what it is today, the main attraction was the bathhouse. And I know bathhouse sounds so fancy. It's not. It's basically just the original beach locker room. Back in the early 1900s, people didn't show up to the beach in swimsuits. No, they showed up in full outfits like sleeves, layers, all the things. So you'd get to the beach and you'd be like, all right, time to transform. You'd go into the bathhouse, change your clothes, store your stuff, and if you forgot a swimsuit, no problem. You could rent one. Which, I'm sorry, you're telling me people were out there just sharing swimsuits back then? Absolutely not. Ew. But these places were packed. They were loud, busy, social gatherings. People talking, laughing, getting ready for the beach. It was basically the pregame before the actual fun started. And honestly, this is where the whole boardwalk vibe really began. Not on the rides, not on the beach, but in these crowded buildings where everyone was just trying to change clothes and live their best life. So yeah, before the thrills, before the chaos, before the screams, it all started with people awkwardly changing into rented swimsuits. And somehow that turned into everything else. By 1907, that idea evolved into something so much bigger, something intentional, something built not just for relaxation, but for an experience. That was the year the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk officially opened, designed to be the Coney Island of the West, not just a beach, not just a park, but a spectacle. Back east, Coney Island had already proven that people crave this kind of place. A chaotic, electric mix of rides, games, music, fun, and just enough danger to make your heart race. So California built its own version. Only this one came with something Coney Island didn't have: the Pacific Ocean. The man behind it all was Fred W. Swanton. He was a local businessman, a visionary, and honestly, kind of a risk taker. Because at the time, building an amusement park on the edge of the Pacific Ocean, this wasn't guaranteed success. It was a gamble. Swanton had already been shaping Santa Cruz before the boardwalk had ever opened. He was behind some of the city's early development, including the Casa del Rey Hotel, a luxury beachfront hotel meant to attract wealthy travelers. His goal? Turn Santa Cruz into a full-blown resort. Not just a beach town, it was a destination and a place that people plan their lives around to visit. And he understood something that most people didn't yet. People weren't just coming for the ocean. They were coming for the experience. So in 1907, Swanton and his investors opened up the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, designed to rival places like Coney Island, but with a California twist. Sun, sand, ocean, and just enough thrill to keep people coming back. And it worked, maybe too well, because once the crowd started coming, they didn't stop. Thousands of visitors arrived by train every day. The bathhouses were packed. Music was echoing over the water. And Swanton? He had done exactly what he had set out to do. He didn't just build an amusement park, he built a destination. And from the very beginning, the boardwalk wasn't small. It was bold. Carousels, early thrill rides, games of chance, bright lights reflecting off the water at night, music drifting through the salty air. First up, the carousel. The Santa Cruz Boardwalk got its carousel in 1911, built by Charles L. D. Loof. And listen, this thing was gorgeous. Hand-carved horses, bright colors, music playing. There were early swing rides, where riders were lifted into the air, spinning in wide circles with nothing but a simple bar holding them in. You felt the wind, you felt the height, and for a second, you felt like you might not come back down the way you went up. And the whole time, you're like, this is fun, this is fun. Have you been on a ride like that? I have. And then they said, what if we remove even more control from the people? And they added spinning rides, tilting platforms, centrifugal force machines, like the infamous human roulette style attractions. You weren't just riding, you were being thrown, pulled, and spun in ways your body wasn't used to. And just when you think, okay, this has gone far enough, the boardwalk goes, let's add speed. There were early roller coasters, not the massive wooden structures we think of now, but smaller, rougher figure-8 style coasters, where the tracks twist back and forth on themselves. And the ride felt not fast because of speed, but because of how out of control it felt. No lap bars like today, no computerized systems, just gravity, wood, and trust. We have to add that getting there became part of the experience. Enter the legendary Suntan Special. This wasn't just a train, it was an event, running primarily in the 1920s through the 1950s. The Suntan Special carried thousands of people from San Francisco straight to the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, packed shoulder to shoulder with beachgoers, families, teenagers, and thrill seekers. On peak days, the train would arrive overflowing with passengers, all pouring out at once, like a human wave heading straight for the ocean. Imagine stepping off that train. The sounds hit you first. Music, laughter, and the distant rumble of rides. Then the smell, salt air mixed with popcorn, roasted peanuts, and caramel apples. Then the sight, the boardwalk stretching out in front of you, alive, buzzing, almost overwhelming. This wasn't just a place you visited. It was a place you felt, and over time, it became something even bigger, a ritual. Families came back year after year. Teenagers had their first dates here. Kids rode their first rides. People fell in love here. People grew up here. If you've been to the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, tell me about it. I want to know all of your stories. 1924, the boardwalk introduced the ride, the one that would define it, the one that is still there today, the one that people are still riding. This thing was bigger, faster, louder. A full wooden roller coaster towering over the beach. You could hear it before you even saw it. That classic wooden clink, clink, clink as it climbed the hill. And back then, that sound didn't mean safety. It meant you're committed now. And people loved it because it was just dangerous enough to feel real. This coaster is iconic. And somehow it's still out here doing its thing like it's 1924. And we're all just casually trusting a 100-year-old ride? Yep, I would ride it. Because when you get to the top of that ride, you can see the ocean. The whole boardwalk, it's actually really pretty for about 2 seconds. And then you drop. And here's the thing about the Giant Dipper. It's not smooth. It's not trying to be smooth. It's like, hold on, we're doing this the old-fashioned way. It's fast, it's loud, it's a little bumpy, and honestly, that's what makes it fun. You're going around those turns like, okay, yep, still on track, great, love that. And yeah, rides like this have been around a long time. So of course, there have been moments where things didn't go perfectly. But that's kind of the thing with these old wooden coasters. They've been tested by time, over and over again. Okay, now this is actually really cool. The Giant Dipper at Santa Cruz, it's not totally one of a kind. It has a sister coaster. Like, same era, same vibe, same slightly chaotic wooden energy. There's another Giant Dipper down in San Diego at Belmont Park, and it opened the same year, designed by the same guy, Frederick Church, which explains why they do feel so similar. They both have that classic wooden structure, the loud clack, clack, clack lift hill, the quick drops and tight turns, and that slightly out of control, but in a fun way feeling. Okay, so while the Giant Dipper is actually considered pretty safe overall, there are a few moments in its history that people don't really talk about. 3 to be exact. 3 people died on the Giant Dipper in 1924, 1940, and 1970. But when you actually dig into the archives, the newspapers, the historical records, these details are hidden or basically erased over the years, and it is so frustrating. The first one happened the same year the ride opened. The Giant Dipper was brand new, towering over the beach, pulling in crowds who had never experienced anything like it. It wasn't just a ride, it was the future. 15-year-old Walter Fernald Byrne stepped onto the train during a school night outing. Just another kid riding with his friends, going again and again, chasing that rush. 3 rides in, familiar enough to feel comfortable, but back then, comfortable didn't mean safe. Early roller coasters weren't built like they are today. No reinforced lap bars, no secondary restraints, no system designed to catch you if something went wrong, just a simple bar. An assumption that you would stay exactly where you were supposed to be. Walter was in the front car. As the train neared the end of the ride, something changed. Maybe he stood, maybe he shifted, maybe just for a second. And that's all it took. He was thrown forward, over the front of the train, and onto the track below. A brakeman saw it, reacted instantly, pulled the emergency brake, but the train didn't stop in time. And just like that, the ride kept moving. Walter's friend that was sitting right next to him, he was left too shaken to even explain what had happened. One moment it was laughter, a school outing, a brand new attraction. The next, something no one there would ever forget. His name was Walter Fernald Byrne. He was 15 years old. And for years, this ride was fairly safe. But by the 1940s, I think they forgot the rules, and another fatal accident occurred when a rider was reportedly not seated properly during the time. Again, same theme. Movement during the ride, loss of position, and then a fall. The story exists, the pattern is clear. But the details, not all of them survived. I don't even know his name, just that he was an active Navy sailor. And again, no real major accidents for a long time. And then I came across another story. This one was printed in the Santa Cruz Sentinel in July 13th, 1972. And even in the headline, you can feel it. Roller coaster fatality. Mystery shrouded. It was early afternoon, around 1:30 p.m. A summer day on the boardwalk, crowded, loud, completely normal. 13-year-old Edward Crooks from Saratoga has made his way there with 4 friends. They had hitchhiked in from Los Gatos, just kids looking for something fun to do. They ended up on the Giant Dipper. And somewhere along the ride, on a straight stretch of track about 15 feet above the sand, something went wrong. At first, no one could say exactly what happened. Even the deputy coroner said, quote, "We're still sifting through the facts. We don't have any official statement yet." End quote. What is known is this. The train was moving between 30 and 35 miles per hour. There was a safety bar in place, and somehow Edward came out of the car. Some reports said he may have stepped up. Others said he just fell. No one could say for certain. And witnesses saw movement on the track. An employee and even a doctor nearby noticed him and they ran to help. But before they could reach him, a train came back around. And in seconds, the situation escalated beyond anything anyone could stop. When the train returned to the station, people were already shouting, trying to explain what they had just seen. Edward was later found on the gravel roof of a nearby structure. Emergency crews arrived quickly, but there was nothing they could do. And even after, the details didn't fully come together. One report suggested that he may have fallen from the upper track to a lower one, possibly to be struck again. Others pushed back, calling parts of that account conjecture. Even investigators couldn't fully agree on the exact sequence. The only thing that was certain was the outcome. And the part that lingers is this wasn't something caused by the ride breaking. It was a moment, a shift in position, a split second where something changed. And by this point, 1972, amusement parks had already come a long way. Better operations, more awareness, more safety than the early days. But still, they were not quite what we know today. This wasn't an isolated kind of story, just a different decade, different writer, same rides. And okay, be honest, you're standing there, you've just heard all of this. The train pulls in. Are you getting on it? I would. I definitely would. And right next to the Giant Dipper are newer rides, faster rides, flashier rides. And like the past and present are just sitting next to each other. So when you visit there now, and I highly recommend that you do, you'll find roller coasters. Yes, multiple. Classic rides plus modern thrill rides. A huge arcade. And there are food stands everywhere. And it still smells amazing. The beach is literally steps away. And you can go from riding a 100-year-old wooden coaster to eating fried food to standing in the ocean in about 10 minutes. And that sounds like the perfect day, doesn't it? It's families, kids, sunshine, music. And at night, it's a totally different kind of energy. Lights reflecting off the water, music echoing, fog rolling in. And why is it still so popular? Because honestly, places like this don't really exist anymore. It's not a massive corporate theme park. It's not trying to be perfect. It's messy, it's nostalgic, it's real. And people love that. Okay, now this is where it gets good. Because these aren't just people say it's haunted stories. These are the kind of moments that people stop, turn around, and question what they just experienced. Our first story starts with a maintenance worker. Late shift, end of the night. The boardwalk is closed. He's doing a routine walk near the Giant Dipper. No trains are running, no operators. Everything is shut down. And then he hears it. That slow lift hill sound. He looks up and swears he sees a train moving. Not fast, just slowly, like it's being pulled up the first hill. But when he gets closer, there's nothing there. No train, no movement, just the sound, echoing off wood that shouldn't be moving at all. And then a security guard doing rounds near the Louvre carousel. It's late. Lights are dimmed. The ride is off. But as he passes, he sees something. A child sitting on one of the horses. Still, quiet. Just sitting there. The guard stops. He takes a step closer, and the moment he does, the figure is gone. No footsteps, no sound. And here's the part that gets people, because that carousel hadn't been opened all night. There was a couple walking the beach after dark, right along the boardwalk. No one else around, just the ocean. They started to hear footsteps behind them. Not loud, not fast, just matching their pace. They stop, the footsteps stop. They start again, and the footsteps come back. At that point, I'm not even turning around, I'm just leaving. But they finally look back, and nothing, just sand and the sound of waves. This one comes from multiple accounts over the years. People riding the Giant Dipper at night, especially in the back rows, they swear that someone is sitting behind them, not touching them, not speaking, just there. They turn to look, and there's no one in that seat, which is honestly worse because now I'm thinking, okay, where did that guy go? And if you thought that was it, nope, because the longer you dig into this place, the more stories keep popping up. Late at night, most of the boardwalk is shut down. The lights are off, except for a few flickering machines inside the arcade. A worker is closing up, counting tickets, turning things off, and then he hears it. Coins dropping. Not once, not random, but like someone is actively playing. He walks over to the machines, and one of them is still lit up, still running, which is okay. Maybe an electrical issue. Maybe someone forgot to turn it off, right? Except the machine starts playing by itself. Lights flashing, sounds going off, just like someone hit start. But no one is there. That one is creepy, and it gave me chills just reading it to you. And this next one comes from a ride operator, again on the night shift, closing down the Giant Dipper. He's standing near the platform when he feels it. A hand on his shoulder. Not light, not imagined, a full solid tap. He turns around. No one. Yep, absolutely not. I'm clocking out immediately. And our next story comes when the Santa Cruz fog hits differently. It rolls in fast, thick, and heavy. Another couple is walking near the boardwalk when the fog starts to take over. Visibility drops and everything feels quiet. And then they see someone ahead of them, standing still, facing the ocean, not moving. They get closer, closer, and right when they're about to pass, the figure is gone. No footsteps, no sound, and the fog still completely still. And multiple workers have reported this one. Late night, of course, the boardwalk is closed, no rides running, and then faint music. Carousel music, my favorite. Soft, distant, like it's coming from far away. They follow it. They walk toward the carousel. And the closer they get, the quieter it gets, until nothing. It stops like it doesn't want to be found. The Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk didn't disappear. It didn't get replaced. It's still there. Still running, still carrying people through the same tracks, the same sounds, the same space that's been collecting stories for over a century. And maybe that's what makes it so interesting, because you're not just visiting a place, you're stepping into everything that's happened there before you. And all these stories are creepy, but want to know an eerie fact? Remember that sister coaster, the Big Dipper at Belmont Park in San Diego? Well, it had 3 deaths too. And if you thought this park was haunted, just wait until next week when we take a trip to Belmont Park and uncover her dark history. Thank you for listening to Death Kiss Traveler. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that 5-star rating and show the show some love. It helps me grow and helps more spooky friends find me. This podcast is written and researched by me, produced by Sunkissed Traveler. Ready to plan your next escape? At Sunkissed Traveler, they take the stress out of planning your vacation and turn it into something unforgettable. Whether you're dreaming of a tropical beach, a cruise, or the ultimate theme park getaway, they've got you covered. Personalized planning, exclusive details, expert tips, so you don't waste time or money. And the service is free to use. All you have to do is pack. See show notes for details or visit sun-kisstraveler.com. I'll see you next week.